Let me ask you something personal. You have income coming in every month. Maybe it's decent. Maybe it's actually pretty good. But if someone asked you right now, how much you have saved, would that number make you proud? Or would you quietly change the subject? Because here's what I've noticed. The conversation around money is completely broken. Everyone talks about making more. Nobody talks about what actually builds wealth. And because of that, millions of people are earning fine, living fine, and quietly falling further and further behind. Not because of their income, but because of 5 habits that are draining everything they earn before it ever has a chance to work for them. Today, I'm going to break those habits down, replace them with 5 moves that actually compound over time, and show you the math that makes the whole thing click. Because once you see the numbers, the choices become obvious, and obvious choices are the only kind people actually make. Let's start with the most dangerous idea floating around about money. Here it is, that a high salary means you're building wealth. It doesn't. I want you to picture someone. Let's say they earn twice what you do. The truck, the watch, the apartment with the view. You'd assume they've got it figured out. But if every dollar they earn is already spoken for before it arrives, the loan here, the subscription there, the lifestyle that inflated to swallow every raise they ever got, then that person, regardless of their salary, has a net worth hovering somewhere near zero. They don't own their lifestyle. Their lifestyle owns them. Economists have a polite name for this. They call it lifestyle inflation. I call it the treadmill trap. Every time your income goes up, your expenses quietly rise to match. The treadmill speeds up, and you're running harder than ever, going exactly nowhere. Here's why this matters. The gap between someone who earns well and someone who actually builds wealth isn't skill or intelligence. It's one question. Of the money that comes in this month, how much stays? That number, the percentage you keep, is the single biggest driver of your financial future when you're starting out. Not your investment picks, not your market timing, not which stocks you read about online, how much you keep. Most people save whatever is left at the end of the month, which, after rent and food and the car and the things that felt reasonable at the time, is usually nothing. The move that changes everything is to flip that around. You take a percentage off the top the moment the money arrives before you've touched it. Automate it out of your account on payday, and then you live on what remains. Start with whatever you can, 10% if that's possible, 5 if it's not, even 2. The number matters less than the habit, because as your income grows, you funnel those increases directly into the machine before your lifestyle has a chance to notice them. Now here's where it gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean most people find this mildly infuriating when they realize how long they've been leaving it on the table. If you work somewhere that matches your retirement contributions, that is, for every dollar you put in, your employer adds $1 up to some limit, and you are not contributing at least enough to capture that full match, you are turning down a pay raise. A guaranteed, immediate, 100% return on your money. There is no investment on earth that doubles your money the second you make it. Except this. And yet study after study shows that a meaningful chunk of eligible employees simply never set it up. The form feels complicated. The moment never quite arrives. Meanwhile, the free money sits uncollected. This is the first thing you fix, before anything else. Capture every cent of that match, starting with your next paycheck. All right, now let's talk about the thing that is quietly destroying more financial progress than almost anything else. Credit card debt at high interest rates. Here's the math, plainly. The stock market, the whole market, indexed over the long run, averages roughly 10% a year. That's the historical figure, and it's genuinely impressive compounded over decades. Credit card interest, right now, is running north of 20% on average. So if you are carrying a balance on a card at 22%, while also investing money at 10% expected returns, you are, and I want to be precise, losing money in net terms. Paying off a 22% debt is mathematically identical to earning a guaranteed 22% return, with no risk and no taxes. Nothing else comes close. So that debt goes first, not minimum payments. Eliminated. Then you build. Once you've cleared the high-interest debt and captured your employer match, you open a Roth IRA if you don't already have one. A Roth is one of the genuinely beautiful things in the tax code. You invest money you've already been taxed on. It grows completely untouched. And when you pull it out in retirement, you pay zero tax. Not on the contributions, not on decades of growth. the government gives up its claim on all of that future compounding. For 2026, the contribution limit is $7,500. If you can max it, max it. If you can't, put in what you can, because even a small Roth started early becomes something extraordinary later. After the Roth, you go back to your workplace retirement account and push your contributions higher, beyond the employer match, up to the annual limit, which sits at $24,000 in 2026. And if somehow you filled all of that, congratulations, you are genuinely doing better than nearly everyone. You open a regular brokerage account and keep buying the same boring index funds. That's the whole order of operations. Emergency cushion first, so one bad month doesn't put you back into debt. Then the free match. Then eliminate the expensive debt. Then the Roth. Then maximize the 401k. Then everything else. Most people never find step 1. You now have all 6. Now I want to show you why starting matters more than almost any other variable in this whole equation. Say you start at 25. You invest $500 a month into a simple index fund. You don't pick stocks, you don't time the market, you don't do anything clever. You just keep buying. At the long-run historical average of roughly 10% per year, by the time you're 65, that $500 a month has turned into somewhere around $3 million. You personally contributed a little over $240,000. The other $2.7 million came from time, from compounding, from the returns on your returns, quietly stacking while you slept. Now imagine you waited 10 years, same $500 a month, same market, but you started at 35 instead of 25. By 65, you end up with around $1.1 million. That is still life-changing money. But it's $1.9 million less than the person who started a decade earlier, despite contributing only $60,000 less out of pocket. That $60,000 gap turned into a $1.9 million gap? That is what compound interest does with time. And that is what procrastination costs. Your earliest dollars are your most powerful dollars. They have the most time to compound. Every year you wait in your 20s isn't the equivalent of 1 year of contributions later. It's closer to 3 to 5 years, because those early dollars lose the most compounding runway. This is not a metaphor. This is arithmetic. Run the numbers on any compound interest calculator and you'll see it in seconds. There's one more thing I want to flag before we wrap up, and it's a quiet fee that drains fortunes without anyone noticing. When you invest in a fund, you pay a fee, called an expense ratio. A low-cost index fund might charge you 0.03% per year. An actively managed fund, the kind a bank might push on you, could charge a full 1% or more. 1% sounds like nothing, but over 30 years on a growing portfolio, that 1% difference quietly consumes over $200,000 of your final balance, in exchange for underperforming the cheap fund the majority of the time. Roughly 9 out of 10 professional fund managers fail to beat a simple index fund over a 20-year stretch. You are paying a premium for a worse result. Keep your fees as low as you can. Let the boring fund win. So let me bring this all together. The people who build wealth on ordinary salaries, and there are far more of them than anyone talks about, don't do anything exotic. A large-scale study of over 10,000 American millionaires found that the majority were teachers, engineers, and accountants. Ordinary careers, ordinary incomes. The number one method they used to build wealth was boring, consistent investing in their workplace retirement account over a long period of time, not timing the market, not finding secrets, just making the right decisions early, and then automating them so completely that they barely had to think about money again. That's the whole thing, and it is genuinely more available to more people than anyone selling you something wants you to believe. Here's what financial security actually feels like, by the way. Not a yacht. It's looking at your bank account without that low hum of dread. It's your car making a strange noise and thinking annoying instead of catastrophic. It's choosing to stay at a job because you want to, not because you have to. It's knowing that if things went sideways, you have a cushion. It's having options instead of obligations. That's it. That's the whole thing. And the path there is not complicated. It's just 5 moves. Keep a percentage of what you earn before you spend $1 of it. Capture every dollar of employer match you're entitled to. Eliminate your high-interest debt as fast as you can. Open a Roth IRA and fill it. Then max your retirement account. Buy low-cost index funds. and then have the patience to do nothing while time does the work. That's what most people never do, not because they can't, but because no one ever handed them the map clearly enough to act on it. Now you have it, and the best time to use it is before this video is cold.